Okay. Hello, how is everybody today?
Good.
Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. So we're going to go over your guys' experience at the Pan American Games. So Janelle and Taylor were in the 2015 games, and Haven and Katya were in the 2019 games. So we'll start off with the first question of give a quick overview of how you got into handball. I don't know who wants to start, but
I can go
You
first.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so in high school, tried out for the high school team. I feel like I kind of got badgered into it by a couple of people. With Haven and I, there is a girl on our basketball team who played handball, and she really wanted everyone to try out. So she kept telling us every single day we had to try out, and I was kind of like, no, never heard of the sport, don't want to. But then my mom also started getting on my case about it because she knew Amber Smart. They were both teachers, and Amber had told her all about her experiences with handball and with the national team. So my mom was telling me, you have to try out, so tried out for the high school team and then went to the provincial team from there.
I'll kind of piggyback off that because Kat and I started at the exact same time, and we've kind of been on every single team the same since then. So we both started at the same time, but for me, like I actually wanted to play. Like I saw it and I didn't know what it was. I was just like looking at the Ainley website and like all the sports they had because I wanted to do as much as I could. And I saw that they had handball and I had no idea what it was. So then I just wanted to kind of try it out. So then we ended up kind of just starting together and then moving up every phase since then.
can I just ask what year did you guys start?
What year is that, Kat? 2012 or
Yeah, I
like
think
when we were in grade 10, I think it was 2012.
Okay.
yeah, 2012 is when we started playing, and then 2013 would have been when we started on the provincial team, I guess.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go next. Mine's kind of similar as Haven's. I kind of just wanted to play all the sports that I could in high school. I had no idea what handball was, but I kind of just, again, went to our first tryout. It was a total gong show. Nobody knew what was happening. There was no cuts. Like it wasn't a big deal, but I kind of started playing and I had a really great coach, Sarah, that kind of got me into it. And then from there, I got, I guess, recruited to go on a trip to Italy by well, my parents say was some random guy, which ended up being Mike. And then I just kind of fell in love with it from there. And I guess that was in 2009, which makes me sound old, but that's how I started.
Yeah, I started playing when I was in, I think, grade 9. I didn't really try out in junior high in grade 8, and that was the first year my junior high had it, and Sarah Sarankwich was coaching me in volleyball, and then she kind of like persuaded all of the volleyball girls to try out for handball and stuff, and then I started playing provincial team from grade 9 on, which was I think 2011.
Okay.
2011, 2012, or
Okay.
2010, I think.
Okay, so Taylor, you played provincial team before Janelle, or are you guys part of the same generation?
I think it was 1 year before. I think, Janelle, you guys were going to go on that trip, but I think it was just 1 year before. And I'm also like a year older, so yeah. And I went to Beth-Facey. I didn't mention that.
Okay, so what is your favorite Alberta handball memory?
Oh, that's so hard. There's like, it's like hard to remember all the trips, but then like, I don't know, they're all so different too. Like going on a trip for nationals is like way different than going on a trip like for a tournament to like Europe in the summer. So it's like, it's very different, like different like vibe of the trip and like mentality of the trip and stuff when you're going to nationals versus like just a tournament.
Yeah.
So it's like really hard to pick something, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say I have also too many, but I have like kind of two that stand out for me. The first is we got to play. I won my very first year ever. We won provincial gold with the Alberta team, and then it had to wait like 6 years, and then finally we had nationals at home in Sherwood Park, so all my family got to watch, and we got to win that year, and that was amazing because it was all you guys. So that was probably one of mine, and then my other one was just like coaching in general. I got to go to Germany and Iceland, so that was a different experience. Like Janelle said, it's totally different going from a player to a coach. But I really enjoyed coaching, like kind of once I stepped back a little bit. So those were mine out of the 100 memories that I loved.
Yeah, I think it's the same for me. Like there's so many things, and going on like a Europe trip or a trip internationally is fun, but it's different than like working towards a medal or something. But personally, like I like to work towards like a goal in a tournament or something a little bit more, I think. So I think winning the 2018 nationals, senior nationals here was probably one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
My personal favorite was when we won, so it was my last year of juniors, and we won gold in Quebec. And I remember we FaceTimed Taylor from the change room when we're all still, like probably screaming our heads off and freaking out because we had lost the year before pretty badly. So it was kind of like a vengeance thing / everyone worked really hard, and then we got to win in Quebec, and it was just a lot of fun. And I feel like that's has kind of stuck with me, how hard we worked for that and the payoff for it. So that was a good one.
Mhm.
That was when you screwed up your thumb, right?
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Okay, I know that you guys are definitely like, you played at different times, but do you have a favorite memory of playing all together?
For me, that was the
I don't
nationals in
know.
Sherwood Park in 2014. It was because we were all on that team,
Mm-hmm.
right? That was
Yeah.
2014. We all played together. That was for me.
Yeah. That was your
2015.
last juniors, right, Tay? 2014?
Yeah. Or no,
Yeah.
I had one more after that because we lost before you guys won again. So that wasn't as fun. Or I really liked when we played in Myrtle Beach. That was
Yeah,
like the fun tournament my last year. Like that was, we didn't do the best. Like it wasn't the best handball, but I think as a team that was like the funnest tournament we ever had. And I think we all played so well together. We've been playing together for a couple of years. That was a lot of fun for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say the
That
same,
one was
especially
so much fun.
I know, especially because it was like a tournament, but it's like in the States and there's so many more teams that you get to play against. But also like being able to like travel with like some of the older players as well. Like, I mean, like Tay, we played a lot together, but like with Kit and stuff like that too, it was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Myrtle Beach a lot. I don't know. I feel like the 2018 when we played together at seniors, that was a good year too, because when we played at home too, that was nice to like just be able to like hang out with everyone at home and then have our families there and stuff too, because like our moms are obviously all like friends and stuff, and then like after the games and stuff, seeing all like everyone's moms is like your mom and stuff, and it's just really fun.
Okay, so we'll kind of move more on to what this live is about and like about the Pan American Games. So can we talk about what was the process for you guys like actually getting there? Like how did you get there? What tournaments did you have to play in? That kind of stuff.
For me, that was a pretty hard year, like mentally and physically, because obviously we like started prepping in 2014, and in 2014 we lost that junior nationals at home, and that I like personally took that really hard because I just did, and and so coming back from that was really hard, and then all of us were super focused to win the next nationals with Alberta, so that was hard for that, and then prepping to try out for the senior national team for my first time playing senior national team versus juniors. It was pretty like intimidating because at tryouts and stuff, all of the Quebec players were like quite a bit older than me. They all had like quite a bit more experience than me, and like me, myself, Taylor, Abby, we were all like the youngest ones there by quite a few years. So it was yeah, it was intimidating nonetheless. And then having to stay like in like super good shape for like the full like almost year and a half, 2 years was a pretty big challenge. So it was a lot of training camps, a lot of travel, a lot of back and forth, Edmonton, Quebec, and we went to Norway and stuff, Auburn and all that stuff. So it was a lot.
Yeah, we had testing in Quebec,
Yeah.
kind of like the first round, and then we went to Auburn and we played the USA national team in like a tournament style. And that was kind of the second round cuts, and then the final was we went to Norway, and that was kind of the final selection. So it was over the course of like 6 months, and then like Janelle said, you're training for 6 months before that to just be in good enough shape to, you know, go to tryouts and keep that for a whole year is like pretty hard when you're already playing. You're not training in the summer for practices and stuff like that. So it was pretty hard, but it was really cool. Like Auburn was awesome. Norway was incredible. It was really hard, like Janelle said, mentally and physically, but it was also a really cool experience getting to know everybody on the team too, because you're all working towards the same goal. So that was really fun. That's kind of us. Kat and Have?
I feel like I'm almost blanking on what we did.
Well, we started in 2018 in Iceland, like January. Was that 2018?
Yeah.
I guess like technically that was kind of our tryouts, but it had like the junior players and the senior players there and like a bunch, like so many players there. And we kind of all just stayed in like a house and just tried out, but we didn't really know like what we were trying out for. Like we didn't really know what the tournaments were or anything.
Yeah, it wasn't quite tryouts or anything because there weren't cuts. It was kind of more like a break the ice, get to know each other, and like start to learn how to play together, I guess.
Yeah, like a camp, I guess. But then we had another one, I think was it June?
Yeah, June in Quebec. Because that was before we went to France, and then the qualifier in late August.
Right.
Yeah. So then I guess like we were kind of trying out in all those stages, but none of it was really like a formal tryout. It was just kind of like after France, the final team was made, and then it was like a week or two, like 10 days later, we had like the first qualifier against the US 2-game series, which we lost, unfortunately. And then after that, we kind of had to take a step back and decide if we wanted to go to the second chance tournament in Mexico, which was a big commitment because obviously everybody knows that we all have to pay our own way. So we didn't know if it was going to be worth it, if like we'd be able to beat Chile. But then we decided to go anyway, and like we pulled it out. So we got the win and finally punched our ticket to go to Pan Am's, I guess. And then from there we were still training. So
that's cool.
Yeah, you guys earned your spot. Like you guys did the second chance, you earned your spot, whereas we kind of got one since we were in Toronto. So that was okay with us.
We made it by like the skin of our teeth. It was out of our hands.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it Mexico had to lose by a certain amount or something.
Yeah, like we were playing Mexico and we were up by 7 or something at halftime, and then we ended up losing that game by like 2 or something like that, and then we played Chile and we beat them by, I don't know, like 8 or 9, which was kind of miraculous. And then the last game, because there was no finals or anything, it was just round robin, so the last game was Chile Mexico, and Chile had to beat Mexico by any number between like a tie and like +6 or something. So there was like a pretty good chance, but it was just like so much passion in that game. It was crazy watching it.
It's so interesting because like I was like, obviously I didn't play handball when Taylor and Janelle went to Pan Am Games, but like watching like you guys try to beat the US and Canada playing, like watch those games, and I was like, I wanted you guys to win, but then being able to see you guys win in Mexico or qualify in Mexico was really cool because it's like, oh, look at you guys go. And
It's so fun. For some reason, it didn't occur to me. Not that it didn't occur to me, but sometimes I forget that there are people watching live streams. So it's like, oh, you watched us?
I'll just pause because I think it's your mom, Taylor. Is Tara your mom?
Yes.
She said your moms are for sure your biggest cheerleaders still today.
So.
Oh, we know. We love you, moms.
Yeah.
Thanks for all the trips. Love you.
Okay, so what was the training like before the Pan Am Games? Like, once you guys knew you were going to the Pan Am Games, like, was there more intensity in the training? Was there more frequent of camps? Like, can you kind of give me an idea of what it was like?
I wouldn't say like the camps were more frequently, just because like no one could afford to like centralize.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like everyone was like working full time or like students, so it was kind of like impossible for us to just like pretty much like put our lives on hold, because we have like no funding, so we're paying for everything. And like I'm pretty sure it was like close to $10,000 a year we went to Pan Am Games for handball. So I wouldn't say the camps were more frequent, but like the personal training, like the running, the working out, like extra practices and stuff, with like your own clubs or your own teams was like definitely more frequent. Like probably working out like 5-6 times a week, and running was like a definite, you need to be doing it. And I think the thing that I always go ahead, Tay.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I remember like we even had to rent our own gym time at like Millennium Place and stuff just to get in, like touching the ball because the season was over.
Yeah, exactly. With I think like Lyndon and Tyrell and Dan, I think like we all shared a half a court just so we could touch a ball like every like couple times a week there.
I think like for us, or I guess for me personally, I'm not sure if it was like this for you, Kat, or for anyone else that was trying out or playing, but I found almost it was like more training and like more intense and more motivating to do like all the workouts and the runs and practicing and stuff in the process of like before we qualified, because at that time, like right up until like 10 days before that first qualifier, like nobody actually knew who was on the team. So we were all kind of training together. We all knew each other at that point, but like everyone was like, okay, I need to do the extra so that I can like be in shape to do this. And like, I didn't want to lose my spot. There were so many wings. And like at the time I was in university too, I guess not in the summer, but like I would go and do a run in the morning, go to my class, go back to the gym, do my workout, and then come home. And then we had practice at night sometimes. Like it was a lot, but I almost felt like at that point after we qualified, it was just like a little bit more relaxed because we didn't have to like, there was more control, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like 2019 was very different from 2018 almost, because like Haven said, we were training so hard leading up to the qualifiers especially, and then in 2019 we had quite a few big competitions back to back, it felt, because we had the qualifier in Mexico, then we had Canadian Nationals, then we had the NORCA qualifiers again in Mexico. So it was kind of as if we were training really hard for these big tournaments, and then we kind of did need to take a little break after that. And then after that, Haven and I don't even know if we really touched a ball much in June after that second Mexico qualifier. So in that regard, we kind of weren't going super hard, but we were doing our best to make up for it with our runs in weight trainings and stuff. And then we went out to Montreal early so that we could train with the team for, 2 weeks or so before, which was really good. That was both productive and a lot of fun to just be with the team again too.
Did it feel like after, because obviously you're putting in all that time and then you get there, like the feeling of it was worth it, and that it like having to go for that 6 a.m. run or whatever, it was like, I understand why I had to do it and I'm glad I did it kind of thing?
Oh yeah. If you didn't like do that all the time, like it's such an exhausting, like mentally and physically, if you're not like physically in the top shape of your life and you're not doing like, a run a day, a workout a day, you wouldn't be able to do, because you're still practicing during these tournaments. You're practicing in the morning and then you have a game at night, and then like you're still doing all these things. You need to be in top shape. So it's definitely worth it.
Totally. And I feel like once like we finally got there and stuff, like we got our clothing, like we did one practice, and then like obviously you sing like the national anthem before the game, and like once you're on like that court singing the national anthem and you're like have your like jersey on, like it's 100% worth it. Like there's not a better feeling than like coming out to center court, standing there with your team and like looking at your flag, like singing your anthem. Like you know you're gonna play like the biggest games of your life, like that's like makes anything worth it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did you
I
guys-
agree as well. Like, sorry, Cass.
That's okay. You
Okay,
go.
I'll finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for us, we also like had to do a lot of mental training. Like, I don't know if Tay and Jan, if you guys did a whole lot. Like, I mean, I know Jan, you did it with us too. But we had like a mental coach, so we were like journaling and like doing mindfulness and stuff all the time too, which like I personally found like contributed to like not necessarily the stress, because it was like alleviating my stress, but just more time that I had to spend every day doing that, like 30 minutes a day or whatever. I think it helped, like, and it was definitely worth it in the long run. Especially like almost, I want to say more in Mexico, like it was just like at that moment, because that was almost our goal, was to actually qualify. So in that moment it was almost more, and then from there it was like, okay, now we're going. So by the time we got there, it was like less nerves and more like just enjoyment.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely didn't do any mental stuff. It was just all in our own heads. So that's good that like that kind of progressed for you guys. That's good to hear.
Did you have any distinct emotions before going / during the tournament that you can like really remember?
I don't know. I think like once we there's just like a lot of like excitement and stuff. Like when we finally got to like the athletes village and stuff, it's like almost like full airport security, like going in there, like you have like your credentials and stuff, and then you get to like the Canada House, which is where like all the Team Canada athletes like were staying and stuff. And like when you walk in there and like you see all these other like top athletes and stuff. And I remember when we first walked in there, like there was 2 synchronized swimmings or diving girls that like came, and they were just wearing their gold medals, and I was like, oh holy cow, this is real, like this is the real deal now, like this is insane. It was just like so much excitement, and like just being in the athletes village and then going to like the facility that like we were playing at. It was like the most amazing thing ever. And like you're treated like you're some like professional like celebrity athlete or something, and it's like it's just so cool.
Yeah, like I remember like obviously before the games you're just so nervous because you put so much pressure on yourself, and we're all like very competitive people, so we train so hard and you put so much pressure on yourself. But like Janel said, when you kind of walk into that athletes village, it's just like so surreal, and you're seeing people from like different countries, and yeah, like you're seeing people win from Canada, like people that are going to be Olympic athletes. Like you just feel so much pride. I don't know how else to describe it. And like when we would go walking downtown and in Toronto, like little girls were asking for our autograph, and they don't even know who we are. Like, so you just feel so like happy to just be part of it. And yeah, I just pride, I think, is the biggest thing for me. It was like the biggest emotion throughout the whole thing during the tournament. Yeah.
Do you want to say?
Well, I had a lot of emotions going on, but they weren't handball related. I had some family stuff going on. So truthfully, I was a little distracted at the games. But fortunately, like having such great teammates and a couple of my best friends there helped. But yeah.
Okay, sorry. I think for me, like, yeah, pride definitely, but I was also just like in awe the whole time. Like I was just like, you know, you walk by and you're just like walking by like Amarim, and you're like, okay, well, she was World Player of the Year. So like I think it's just like so many times I was like, can't believe I'm here, can't believe this is happening, like just gratefulness.
Yeah. Yeah. Am I worthy of being with all these other crazy athletes? I always have that running through my head. But
yeah, no kidding.
That is so true. I literally felt like a 5-year-old sometimes, being like literally a child amongst all these grown-ups, because they're literally professionals and they get paid to do this. And some like, how did I end up here?
Obviously, the whole tournament was probably had so many memories, but could you pinpoint one that is your favorite?
I think when I finally scored like my first goal and like I remember like I was looking to like the crowd when I like was running back on defense, and like I saw my mom and dad there and my sisters, and yeah, then yeah. Yeah, and Kat was there with my other good friend Jill and stuff, and just like seeing them, and then like seeing like Mike on the bench too, like I don't know, it's just like the like coolest feeling ever to like score like a goal like in a game like that, because I was like, oh yeah, if I just like don't get beat on defense, like I'll be fine. But then like being able to like score a goal and stuff, like it was probably one of the highlights of my career. As silly as that sounds, I don't know, it's really cool.
No, that's not silly.
Mine was definitely like kind of like Janelle touched on before, the very first game when they sing the national anthem and you're kind of standing with your team. That's like was my favorite thing in the world. Like it was just so cool with everybody singing along with you. And then also same as Janelle, I scored my first goal was a sidearm against Brazil. I never take sidearms, and we were losing by like I don't know, we lost by like 40 goals, but for me that was a win. So that was like the coolest moment. Again.
Yeah, I think there's a common theme here because for me, yeah, mine was also against Brazil. I scored the first goal too against them, and I was like, oh my God, I'm 1-for-1 right now against Brazil. But also, like before the game, we did the national anthem and stuff, and we all handed like a pin out or traded pins with the other team, and then like we just like line up where we line up, and I was just like right across from Amarim, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna trade pins with Amarim. So I did that, and then obviously I was fangirling. And then I got to start that game, so I was pretty happy and scored that goal, and like it just I think I blacked out the rest of it, but yeah.
Yeah, everything about the Brazil game was surreal from the opening whistle all the way literally till the bus ride back, because after the game, the game, it was unreal. Everyone was celebrating every single goal because every single one was very important for us. And we got to take a picture after with Amarim, which was really cool, and she was really nice. She took a selfie with our whole team, and it was kind of funny because you could see the Brazilian girls behind us kind of being like, okay, but we were all freaking out. And even the bus ride home, we were so loud. We were singing like we won the world championship because we were just that excited. So yeah, that feeling carried beyond that Brazil game too. It was a lot of fun, even though we got absolutely smoked.
Yeah, but we scored over 10 goals, so.
I guess Haven and Kat, I think based off of what you guys have said, your favorite team that you played was Brazil, but I could be wrong, so correct me if I am. But Janelle and Taylor, do you guys have a favorite team?
I mean, it was pretty cool playing Brazil because when I was playing on defense, I was playing against in that year, the right wing was the best player in the world. I can't even remember her name. I think it's Alessandra. And I was like scared shitless because I was like, man, she's just gonna roast me on defense. And I remember I stopped her one time and I was like, okay, take me off, I'm good. Stop her. Like I don't know, like they're such a good team, and like obviously like you're not gonna win against them, but like just being able to play against players like that like play Champions League and that are like the world's best players, like it's so cool. Because like I mean in Canada, handball's like no one knows what it is, and it'd be like someone going to play like an NHL player, right? It's like the same thing for us. It's like such a cool experience, and we obviously lost, but yeah, it was really cool to be able to play players like that and stuff.
Yeah, mine was Brazil too, like even though we got slaughtered, and like I didn't play a lot, but I remember I was playing defense against a left back, and she was like literally probably 6'3", and I'm 5'5.5", and I'm trying to like defend this girl who can shoot from basically half court over my head. But yeah, and, like even though we were getting destroyed, it was so much fun. Like if you do anything right, it just feels so good. Like it was just a fun game. Like we knew we weren't gonna win either, but it's just like great experience, like something I would never do again in my handball career. So that's pretty cool.
Can you give me an overview of what the whole experience was like? What were your emotions through it? Were there any mental challenges you had to push through? What were the games like? Kind of, not necessarily, like kind of walk me through what the whole process of it was like.
Like just at the games?
Yeah, so like if Janelle and Taylor, you guys want to talk together like amongst what your experiences were, and then Haven and Kat, if you want to also do that, you can do that, or if you guys individually would like to talk.
Okay. Yeah, like when we got there, we had like the games had already started. I think like a week before like we got there, because every sport isn't on at the exact same time, so you kind of like rotate through. So we were there about a week after the game started, and I think we were there for almost 2 weeks, because you play one day and then the guys play the next day, so it's your rest day, so you just practice. So yeah, we got there, we had a couple of days of practice before we started our games, which was nice, so we could kind of get together as a team. Like obviously we did video and Mike would like game plan with the coaches and stuff, and we would have like daily meetings and stuff, and then either do a run or have practice and then play. And then yeah, once we were done our tournament section, I guess we were able to do closing ceremonies. So like yeah, if you're there at the beginning, you do opening ceremonies, and if you're near the end, you get to stay for closing ceremonies. So that was pretty cool to be a part of that.
Yeah, and I'd say like overall emotions, it was just a lot of fun. Like obviously there was a lot of pressure on us and stuff, but I would just say like obviously the Alberta girls that went, we were so close, but we became really close with the rest of the team. So I just found the whole time we just had such a fun time. And in terms of like other emotions, it was so hard because you're training to stay in the best shape of your life for like almost like a year and a half, 2 years. And then there's all the food that you could possibly imagine in the athletes village. It's so hard to resist. So it's the best feeling in the world when the tournament part was over and we could just like, they had all these Coke dispensers and like ice cream and like food from all around the world, and you could just eat whatever you wanted. So that was pretty cool just to like fully experience the athletes village. Obviously during the tournament we were being pretty good, but like almost a sigh of relief when it was done, because you could kind of sit back and enjoy it rather than have the pressure of it. But yeah, athletes village, I can't even describe it. It just felt like so exclusive, like nobody else could come in. It was just people from different countries, and you just met a lot of interesting people. It was just so cool.
Yeah, I felt like a lot of pressure like at the very beginning, because we had such a big game against Mexico too, that we like really needed to win that game to be able to like try to get top 3, because if you made it to like, obviously Brazil hosted the Olympics that year, so and everyone knew Brazil was going to be in the finals, so it was kind of like if you can get to the final, you're going to the Olympics, because whoever was in there got the spot because Brazil got the host spot. So I felt like a lot of pressure like when we were playing Mexico and stuff the first game. And I think we only lost by like a couple. So after that, like I felt even more pressure, because like it just felt like really stressed that we like had to win all of our other games and stuff. So
yeah,
I mean, like in a good way, like it wasn't like bad stress, it was like intense, like we gotta get it together and win these games kind of thing. So
yeah,
but also excitement and stuff.
a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Dad, you want to go first?
No.
I just thought of a couple things. Like when we actually were the first Canadian team to get there, and our tournament setup was like a little bit different than Toronto, because ours was like all the female games get played first, and then the male tournament started when we were doing our playoffs. So then they'd play their entire tournament after us, which kind of sucked because then we couldn't watch and we didn't really have as many rest days. But it was really cool being the first ones there, and you know, like we got our rooms in the Canada House like first, and we got all of our clothing and stuff first, so we were the first ones to really see it. So that was cool. The other thing was like our goal was also to try to get into third place, because we had Brazil and Argentina there that were pretty strong competitors, but we thought that we could probably try to get into the bronze game and hopefully play the USA. But then we were training so hard to try to figure out how to beat Puerto Rico right after we won in Mexico. Everything was just about watching game tape on Puerto Rico, who are their players. And in Puerto Rico, like they've had the same team for so long and they've been playing together for like 20 years. So there was so much going into it about like the individual players and stuff, and then something just happened in that game and things didn't go our way, and it like just completely fell apart, even though we really thought that we could contend with them and beat them. So then after that kind of like we were just, personally I was confused. I think my teammates were also confused because we weren't even thinking about like the game after that yet, and then after that it was all about beating Dominican, and same thing, like we were up by, I don't know how much were we up by, Kat?
A
Like
fair
7?
bit at half. I want to say 8 or 7 or something.
Yeah. And then like I don't know what happened in that game, but second half we just blew it and we lost by I think 1. So that put us actually into the 7-8 game, which like I think that we could have done a lot better than that. Like I think at least we could have got 5th place, but just that, I don't know what happened. It was just maybe like a lack of experience playing with each other, or like pressure of being there and like playing under the lights and everything like that. I don't know, but it was kind of disappointing, but at the same time you're like trying to enjoy all the experiences that you're having and everything. So yeah.
And we got to participate in opening ceremonies since we were there first, which was pretty cool, especially our seats in this stadium or whatever it was facing the entrance. So when Peru, obviously the host nation, came in, and it, crowds went wild. Peru's here. So it was really cool to see how many Peruvian athletes were coming in, and then how excited everyone was. So that was a lot of fun too.
Yeah, we forgot to touch on closing ceremonies, Jen. Those were really fun. We got to see Kanye from like 10 feet away, which was pretty cool. It was a pretty surreal experience, and everybody had so much energy at that point, so it was pretty cool.
And Pitbull.
Everybody at everyone that I talked to, like all the other athletes from different countries and stuff, said that Toronto was the best one. And I mean, like, these are conditioned athletes, that this is like Pan Am Games is like nothing for them.
Yeah.
Specifically the cafeteria.
Yes.
It was
I'm telling you, I had to mention it. It was so good. It was hard to resist.
Oh yeah, every day someone on our team would comment, this just isn't as good as Toronto, which I mean, it's still really good. And I mean, literally all you can eat. So I had a good time, but.
Yeah.
Remember the pesto, Kat?
Mm.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay, so Janelle and Taylor, you guys played for Canada, or not obviously for Canada, but you played in Canada. So how was that experience? Like, did you feel more pressure? Was it just more fun?
I don't know, like it was nice that like I know like for myself and Taylor, our families came to Toronto, so like that was really like special for us to have like our families there watching us on such a big stage, I guess. But yeah, it was like a little bit nerve-wracking like playing at home, but at the same time it was like super exciting because I don't know, it was just like kind of different, like being at home, it's just gives you kind of like a different vibe. I don't really know how to explain it. Tay, do you have input?
Like I just know, like, because both sets of my grandparents came, and my parents, and like my boyfriend, and like everybody that I know that never would have been able to come if it was like in Peru or something. So for them to experience that with me, I did a lot of other things in Toronto, but I just think it was that much more special for me because they could come to like Canada House downtown or whatever, and like I said, when you walk around you feel like a celebrity, whereas if it was in Peru or somewhere else, it's not like the home place, right? Like for us, it was like everyone was excited to meet us because we're Team Canada athletes, which was really interesting. So I thought it was like, I've been to a lot of tournaments internationally and it's such a cool experience, but being at home was a different like thing altogether. I think that was the best case scenario for me, to have everybody that I wanted to be there, and kind of have, it wasn't a home team advantage because we didn't do that well, but it felt like it for us.
Okay, and Kat and Haven, how was it to play in Lima?
I think it was interesting because obviously like I didn't have any family there. Some of the girls on the team, including Katya, had their families there, their parents. But like it was cool. A lot of people drove over from like other countries around the area, like Brazil and like Bolivia and all these other places. And like they know what handball is. So there's like big crowds, and like they're excited, and like they're just they understand the game. So in that sense, it was really cool to like play for people that actually know like what the sport is and everything, and not just like people that are seeing it for the first time, or like your family members and stuff.
Yeah, it was really exciting getting to play in Peru because I feel like that was a big part of the training process almost of, go like traveling to Peru and stuff. And also getting to experience another culture while we're at it. I think pretty much every single Canadian was shocked by the weather because we looked and it's, woohoo, 19 degrees. It was freezing. And so cold all the time. So it was kind of fun to also travel and experience new things while at this tournament, especially since a bunch of us were able to stay and actually travel after the competition. So that was a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, like I don't think anyone, like even the people that were organizing, like the team leaders and stuff for Canada, because like they gave us like shorts and stuff and like so many t-shirts, like they were thinking it's gonna be nice. And then like a couple days into the tournament, we all got a notification that everyone was gonna get a pair of those mitts. So they like sent them out because it was so cold.
What was it like staying in the athletes village? I know that Janelle and Taylor, you've touched on it a little bit, but can we kind of like, is there anything else you guys would like to say about it?
Yeah, it was like I don't know, it was really cool because like we all kind of had like condo style rooms where like there was like half the team was in like one little condo thing, then the other half was just like next door in another set of condo things, and then like there was laundry there. You could do it anytime you needed. Like Taylor said, like the food cafeteria place was like the most incredible thing ever. Like any food you needed 24/7, any drink you needed 24/7. Like there's Coke machines on every floor of like Canada House, and it was just like so cool. And they had like all these like game rooms and stuff that you could go into, and like different meeting areas that you could like hang out with like different countries and stuff like outside of Canada House. And like even in Canada House, like there's a floor like just to do like sports med, and there's like doctors, and like anything you needed was like right there for you. So it was
24/7.
really 24/7. Anything you needed they would get for you at the snap of fingers. Like it was really, really cool.
And they had like stress dogs that would walk around too, so that was always really fun.
Those were cute.
For the athletes. So cute. Yeah, it just felt really VIP. Like everything like Janelle said, like there's doctors, like if you aren't sleeping though, like okay, just go see the doctor. Like you have your own designated doctor. There's like a massage floor, like a focus floor, so it's all dark and like got ambiance and stuff. Like it's a different experience as an athlete. It just seems really elite compared to kind of what we've experienced, which is hard to express in words.
Yeah.
I think probably one of the coolest things for us, well, for me anyway, was getting to be surrounded by all these really elite athletes, and not just from other countries, but also Canadian ones, right? The rugby team, and they won gold. They went undefeated. And we made friends with a couple volleyball players and stuff. So just getting to hear other people's experiences and stuff was really neat. And then, our setup was the same. We were kind of in condos and stuff, and the walls were paper thin, but the beds were very comfy. So it was a decent trade-off in terms of, again, you win some, you lose some. I slept great.
Yeah, I agree. Like to me, the coolest thing about being in the athletes village, like I mean, it is awesome, like having your little pass, and it's like very VIP and stuff. And like you can definitely see that like it's very VIP once you leave the village too in Peru, because we were actually like the athletes village was in an area with the nickname the Guns and Knives Zone. So as soon as you leave, it's like just a different world, which is crazy. But it was like cool to be able to like just be in there with like all these other athletes from different countries and different athletes from Canada. Like you're literally just like hanging out with like an Olympian next to you, and like having like access to just hang out with like your team the entire time and be focused on competition and like watch the other sports on the TV. And also being able to kind of just go and watch other sports too was cool.
It sounds like an awesome experience. I'm definitely jealous. Okay, so is there like any athlete that you guys got to meet that you're like, holy cow, I got to meet them?
I don't think there was any like specific one for me personally.
Definitely Amarim for me. We had a plan for how we were going to get a photo. And I have in the cafeteria one day, the first time we saw her, you know, I think Yuki and I are like freaking out. And then so where I'm sitting at my cafeteria table, Yuki's across from me, like trying to get a picture of me with her in the background. You can't even see, but we were literally, like Haven said earlier, fangirling.
Yeah, for me too, it was Amarim. And I mean, like, there's a lot of other girls too on the Brazilian team that play in like Champions League and stuff like that. And even on like the other teams too. But also, like, it was cool to just see like other Canadian, like, people that I've watched like growing up on the Olympics and stuff, like Jennifer Abel, and there's like a bunch of gymnasts and things like that. It was just like, you know, it's not necessarily that I am like a fan of them, like I follow them on Instagram and like I'm interested in what they do and stuff. Like, I mean, obviously there's a lot of handball players I follow, but just to like be in that environment with them was really cool.
Yeah, I just remember like the same. I don't really have a specific person like Janel, but just seeing people win on TV, like that you see in the Canada House afterwards, and you like that, you know, they're going to the Olympics or they've won a bunch of Olympic medals. Like it just feels like you're sitting with a celebrity, like Haven said, and you know, you don't feel worthy almost, but you're in the same place and you work both equally as hard. But just meeting a bunch of Olympians and people that did really well, that you knew were going to go on to be very successful was really cool.
Okay, and were you able to experience other sports? And you guys touched on being a part of the opening and closing ceremonies, but were you able to watch other sports? Were we able to watch other handball games, like that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we could go watch other handball games, and then we would watch the guys play too because they were obviously playing when we weren't.
Yeah.
And then you could kind of like, they had like buses going all the time to like the different venues, so then you could go watch whatever you wanted if it was in like the right time and stuff, and you just kind of had to like sign up to go do it. And then yeah, you could just like go watch whatever. I think we went and watched like water polo, and I can't remember what else we like went to go watch.
Because like a lot of the events were already done.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it was that.
Yeah,
a lot of the events were already done by the time we were there, and obviously we were just so focused on practices and games. Like whenever you weren't on a game day, you were practicing, so it's not like you had a bunch of spare time to go and be able to watch. So that was one of the things that kind of did suck a little bit more, is that I feel like we didn't get to watch as many other sports, but you're so focused on what you're there for that, you know, it doesn't really matter at the time, I guess.
Yeah, and everything's like on the TV too. Like all the TVs are playing like the different venues and stuff, minus handball because it wasn't televised anywhere. But yeah, so yeah, you could always just watch it on the TV in the Canada House.
Yeah, I think we watched rugby and beach volleyball. Like watching beach volleyball was cool because we made friends with the two guys that were, well, and the two girls that were playing beach volleyball. So like we were actually cheering on people that we kind of knew. And same with the rugby girls, I guess too. But like, I mean, it's just when there's two people and you're like so close to the court, it's really cool. It was also kind of cool because there was some Canadians that would come and watch us play that didn't know what it was and stuff. So, you know, them coming up to me like, oh, your sport's so cool, that like it was cool. And I mean, this might be controversial now, but like Juliet Payette was there too, and she watched us. And, you know, after the game, she kind of was like, oh, your sport's amazing and good job and stuff. I mean, now it's not as cool, but at the time it was kind of cool.
It was really cool to watch rugby as well because I'm pretty sure the Canadian rugby team, I think their goal was to have no one score on them at all the whole tournament, which that is just so cool. So it was really cool to see them go out there and just dominate. And I'm not really familiar with rugby, to be honest, but they were very, very strong. So that was really cool too, to see what a fully funded centralized team can all do together, because they were manageable.
Like we thought like some of the girls on our team were like pretty tough, pretty strong, right? Like this one girl from the rugby team literally like just picked Yuki up like it was nothing.
And then ran 10 feet with
Like,
her
yeah.
over her shoulder.
Like think Dirty Dancing. It was literally like nothing.
Okay, do you guys have any stories or anything that you guys would like to share from the games or not?
There's stories, maybe some we can't share.
Or maybe
fun
maybe
after the
is
games.
the better word.
I kind
I
of
think
thought.
we
Oh, do you have one, Kay?
No, I think I said I just kind of covered my high points, so go for it.
Yeah, like I think I shared most of the important or like the cool things about like handball and competing and stuff at the games, but I guess I also forgot to mention like we did get to watch some handball, and Katya, Yuki, and I went traveling after all together, and we went to go watch handball on, I think it was like the last day that we were there before everyone was leaving. And Katya, we were just kind of like, you know, going around the little, they had like a little like food truck area with like some kiosks and stuff where you could buy like souvenirs. And Katya just completely left her suitcase unattended and walked away from it. Like
Yuki had it. I don't know why I thought Yuki was taking care of my suitcase, but I thought she was.
You can't trust Yuki with that.
I know. Well, do you want to tell the story about your passport?
Oh, that was before the games. Oh yeah, I blocked that out. But we were, like Katya said before, we went to Montreal like 2 weeks or something before like everyone departed from Montreal to Lima, and Katya and I were both, and Bryn actually was there to help her training with us, but we were all staying at Yuki's house, and one day we were like, yeah, okay, we got to get a workout in. So we were like, because obviously we're still poor and we still have to pay for everything. So we're looking around, like trying to see where we can get a free trial for a gym for like one day, like pretending that we're going to sign up. And you needed like ID, but I like didn't bring any other ID other than my passport, because I was like, I knew that like some areas of Peru are not like the safest for pickpocketing and stuff. So I didn't want to bring anything more than I had to. So I brought my passport with me in my that little tiny Hummel, that black Hummel bag that everyone has, that little tiny one that fits nothing, but it actually is very big backpack.
It somehow fits everything.
Yeah. And I had it in there, and like just out of nowhere, we finished the gym, we're like on our way back, and it's just like torrential downpour. Like rain, I've never been in rain like this before. And like there's no escaping it. You can't stand underneath like one of those little store, I don't know what they're called.
Awnings.
Yeah, like there's no way to get out of it. Like we go into the bus and like the windows are open, it's still getting us. So we're like literally booking it down the street, trying to get like cover, trying to just get home. And I'm like not even thinking about this. My passport's in a cover, so I think it's safe. We get home and I look at my passport and it's just like completely water damaged. Like my picture is not even existent anymore. And I was like, oh my God, like what am I supposed to do? We literally leave in like 5 days.
Week, I think. Yeah, 5 days.
Luckily, Montreal is where they make the passports, so I had to like put a rush on it. My parents couldn't find my birth certificate, so I had no ID there like at all, and I was just like hoping. So my family had to go to the passport office in Edmonton, send all my documents to them, and then they had to send them to Montreal, and they wouldn't give me the passport like until the day before we left. And then so I'm like, hey, whatever, I'm gonna get it. I got it. But then I hear from like Natalie, our coach, that she's like, oh, well, this happened before where a girl had to get her passport changed. Like she got a new one a few weeks or a few months or something before they left. And they like didn't let her play because she had a different passport number and stuff. So they like thought that she was a different person or like trying to cheat her way in or something. And I was like, if we get there and I can't play, but everything worked out. So it's fine.
So the moral of the story is if you're bringing your passport to a gym with you, put it in a Ziploc bag.
Yeah, or bring your waterproof driver's license.
Okay, I have one final question to wrap it all up. Do you guys have any future goals with handball, whether it's coaching, playing, etc.?
For me, it's going to really depend on the state of the pandemic.
Very true.
Like, I won't be playing a contact sport during a pandemic, so we'll see. It's all up in the air.
I think for me, like, yeah, like obviously with the pandemic, it's destroyed everything. But pandemic aside, like it was like a really big goal of mine to be able to play at 2 Pan Am games. So when I tore my Achilles and stuff, and then like losing that qualifier, which is the same one like Haven and Kat played at, like that was like quite heartbreaking for me. Because we lost, and then like I played that qualifier with my Achilles like partially torn, so that was like a pretty big like kick in the face for me. Like it was no one's fault but like my shitty Achilles. So like, and then not being able to play at the second chance tournament, I kind of felt like my handball career was over, because like I was like, oh man, I'm gonna be like 28 next time a Pan Am Games rolls around. Like, am I even gonna be able to play? But I mean, it's still a goal of mine to be able to do that. And injuries aside, like I'm still hoping I'd be able to do that one day. Not to put a damper on everything, but yeah, that's still one of my big goals, is to be able to play at 2 Pan Am Games.
For me, like I feel like I've always in the last, like since I started playing, have always done everything I can to play handball as much as possible and like work towards a goal and stuff. So like having the pandemic has been really difficult, as I'm sure it has been for everyone, especially those playing handball and stuff, and especially like people with injuries and things like that. But like I'm always going to try to do as much as I can to play, and like I want to become a key player in Canada. Like I want to go to more tournaments. It's just really hard when you don't know what the future looks like, not only for the national team, but even for like Alberta. And like, you know, our league just got canceled, so that's another thing that we can't play, and it's hard. I want to keep pushing, but it's just like really hard with no end in sight, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess mine's a little bit different because like I feel like I got a lot of opportunity and a lot of experiences, and I feel like I did everything that I set out to do in handball. So I feel really accomplished, and I feel like I ended on a good note, like in terms of having that Myrtle Beach tournament and playing with all my friends. So I think I'm kind of more of the thoughts, you know, like I have a career now and I'm starting a family, but I want to come back and play once we have league, and I want to coach. Like one of my goals was to coach my little brothers who are now 13 and 12. So I've done that, but I want them to come back and play, and I want to see them play, and I want to see, you know, like my kids play. So mine's more like not for myself, but just to give back and yeah, just still be involved somehow and see people, because I miss you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so that kind of ends it all off. Do you guys have anything final to say before the live ends?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Even though
Do you
we're
have goals to
old.
play at the Pan Am Games?
Pardon?
Do you have goals to play at the Pan Am Games?
Yeah, I think so.
Nice.
That'd be pretty cool.
It's all worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all worth it.
Yeah.
End the live. I'll stop